So I hope you all are doing well. I want to say happy Friday again and welcome to the Digital Media Arts Advisory Board. Here we go. All right. And so as we get started, I want to thank you all for joining us. We have some great representatives with us today. We have a guest speaker who's also going to share some updates that are happening in other school districts to kind of shine a light and spread some ideas. We'll also hear from college representatives from local Orange County colleges about what they're doing during COVID times and how their students are prospering through online or in-person classes. And then we'll take a brief 10-minute break, and then we'll hear from the industry panels. And so for some housekeeping rules, please be sure that you're muted if you're not speaking. We definitely understand that we are in a COVID environment, so we may have some busy backgrounds. Once a panel starts, please turn your camera off. This will help us shine a light on the representatives that are speaking. And then for check-in, feel free to put your first and last name in the chat with your, with your school or school district name. And then you can also network with other educators or representatives in the chat if you feel so. Yeah. Okay, and then for some updates that we do have at this time Ms. Netta Arak, who is our interim president. So if you do have any questions about upcoming events or invoices or payments, or have an idea that you just really want your school or college to do, definitely contact Netta. Netta, unmute yourself and share any updates I might be missing also.
Hi, everyone. It's great to see all of you. Just two updates really is that we have our summer programs outreach and everything has already started. So if you're interested in starting any of your summer programs for your students in the world of DMA, entrepreneurship, drones, everything all together, just reach out to me. I'll get that going with our team for you guys and make sure your students can sign up for these programs. Again, all programs are free for students, so we want to make sure that they have an opportunity to, advance in their career paths during the summer. And the other option item is that our relaunch event has that was postponed in early January due to COVID precautions, has been settled on April 6th. And the information for that is coming out next week to all of you. So keep an eye out from our weekly emails and our newsletter regarding the relaunch event. It's still going to take place at the same location at the Assembly at Flight here in Tustin. And it's going to be 5 to 7 p.m. on ground. If you have any additional questions about any programs or our relaunch or the future potential programs for your district or college, I'm putting my email in the chat, and please go ahead and email me.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Netta. And again, for the educators that have just joined us, for the check-in process, please put your first and last name, school and or school district in the chat. This will help us let your administration know that you did join today. And then for the final sharing, here we go. Just a couple of tools that we've also been using that you can share with your students or colleagues. If you haven't heard about Program Finder, it's a great tool to use with your students in case they are interested, and we're encouraging them to go to college. They can find some local programs at their local community college by selecting their interest, and then it'll identify not only the college, but also the high school that works on that pathway or teaches that pathway. And then they will actually be adding in business partners. That's a new icon that they've added in. But that also correlates with Talent Ed, which is another platform you can share with your students as well. This is a great way if you're also looking for guest speakers for your classes to come and talk with your students, either in person, probably through Zoom right now, but definitely in person. all of the companies and representatives on here are aware they're on the website, and they are interested in working with students to kind of encourage them and motivate them to find their dream career. If it'll work, there we go. And so with the industry map, there we go. Oh, they'll probably add some more. They're still building this one, but they've added in a ton of businesses that correlate with digital media, IT, and digital media entertainment. And so when you click on a section, it'll pinpoint down to the exact area of Orange County. And then any dot that you click on will open to a business, and you can click on their page to learn for more. So that's all I have for now. So I'm going to turn it over to Miss Angela Gomez Holbrook to kick off our college panel. College representatives, if you're joining on the panel, please turn on your camera now and feel free to unmute yourself. Additional representatives that are joining us, please turn your camera off and remain muted. Feel free to add any questions into the chat. Thank you so much.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. My name is Professor Angela Gomez Holbrook. I am the digital media professor at Coastline College. I'm going to just move forward with the panel that is here, and then I'd like to present my college projects and classes and information at the end. So should I go ahead, panel members, and go along as I see everyone in like the alphabetical order, or does anybody have a time constraint, or should I just kind of, you know, call on each person? How do you, what are you feeling like on this Friday?
I think you should just call on each person, you know, have fun.
Agreed.
All right. So I know, Katie, you had something you wanted to show us. So I would like to confirm with Aria, or I'm not sure if so Aria and Nada, or who else was here with us still.
Yes.
Nada, whether or not at will, can we go ahead and share our screens when we need to?
Yes, please.
Okay. So Katie, you're on.
Thank you. So my name is Kati Angulov, and I'm the chair of the Media Arts Design Department at Cypress College. And Cypress College has a specific, you know, direction in the Media Arts and Design program. We specializing in digital film, motion design, projection design. We also offer classes in 2D and 3D animation, and as well as in graphic design. And what I would like to share with you guys is kind of the approach to what we teach and how to teach. And I have a 1 minute, I promise it's short. So 1 minute demo reel for our projection design program, because it's incredibly difficult to explain what that is. And I want to show you what we do. So if that's okay, I'm gonna pull up this video. I do this every day, all the time. So I would like to share my screen with you and present you this compilation of a couple of years of projects. Are you guys able to see my screen?
Yes.
Thank you. All right. So not to stretch this out longer, I just wanted to say we do a lot of collaborative things. We do a lot of hands-on things. We like making things. We like having fun together. We have about 12 certificates in these different areas. We have a associates in science transfer degree for film, and as well as a graphic design associate's degree. That is our offerings. Thank you for your time, and I'm letting the next person speak.
Good timing. Forgive me, please. I welcome anyone to please correct me if you'd like me to pronounce your name a certain way. From the get-go, I know I got yours wrong.
Everybody does. That's okay.
Well, thank you. So please do let us know. Now that was a lot of fun and exciting. I love the sound. The sound, you know, came out great on my computer. So yeah, high five on that. Yeah, it looked really good. And it looks like the students are having a great time. So I'm going to just move on forward with Avery. So you're next. Avery Caldwell from Golden West College. Welcome.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Again, my name is Avery Caldwell. I'm a professor of digital arts, Golden West College, Huntington Beach. And I can top that with a really cool Excel spreadsheet. If you'd like to share. But what we've been doing at Golden West College, we've been in the remake mode for about a year during this pandemic, and we've turned over our curriculum, totally revamped it. The Associate of Arts degree has new course offerings. We have removed, or I should say, sunsetted one of our certificates and rolled it over into 3 newly revamped certificates. All of this is fresh off of the approval of our curriculum committee, CCI. So the AA degree, the new AA degree, and 3 additional certificates are going to be offered in the fall of 22. So we're extremely excited about that. We have some really stackable options that are available for students so that they can move easily from an AA degree to obtaining another certificate. And if they start off the other way in terms of the certificate, they can easily take additional courses over the course of a semester or 2 and earn an AA degree. So it really depends on what the student aims to do. There's a lot of flexibility in that. And if you like, I could share this really exciting, really cool Excel spreadsheet if you like, but otherwise that's what we're doing over at Golden West College.
Please do share. I mean, if you want to outline, you've got another minute.
Sure, I'll do that. And I'm just gonna share the stackable options. I think that you can kind of get an overall really good view of what we're doing. So
I love Excel, by the way, so.
do you guys see my screen here?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Also, okay, so what you're looking at is the options for the degree, and this is the associate degree. Maybe I should actually show you the, I gotta move our window here. The program, and so we have the associate's degree, we have the graphic design foundation course. We actually had 2 certificates that were very similar. One of them was really heavy in terms of units requirements. The other ones were certificates of achievement. They were 15 credits. We've bumped them up to 18 credits now. So each of our certificates are 18 credits. Digital art and production, and then we have a UX and web design. UX is a new certificate for us. So we're looking at having our students to do some UI UX design as well. And you can see that there is some overlap with some of the courses that are sort of foundational courses. These purple ones here, these violet colors here are for the associate's degree. And then we have our graphic design foundation courses. So the units for the associate's degree in the major is 36, 18 for the certificates. And you can see we've got some pretty nifty courses here that are new for us. The new courses would be this 160 course, Interaction for Design Mobile, Design for Mobile. Some of the courses are not new, but they've been revamped in terms of not only their title and their focus, but also all of these courses were 72 contact hours previously, right? They're now 90 contact hours. And so we are really making these courses aligned with the CSU courses. So students are now getting 90 contact hours rather than 72. So an additional 18 contact hours, which we're really excited about as well. The 2D and 3D graphics animation, which used to be web animation. We've got a history of design. We never had a history of design course in the program. We've got a digital photography course and a UI UX course in the program as well. And this is how, I'll try to hurry. This is how these stack up in terms of the offerings. So if a student takes they're enrolled in the associate's degree, if they simply take one course, they get in addition to the associate degree courses, they get the associate's degree and a digital arts production certificate. So you can kind of see the benefit of that as well. So the degree plus 4 additional courses will get them a degree and a certificate in UX and web. And it just basically goes from there, channeling through each of the certificates. Here's the graphic design foundation. We've got to take more courses because that's sort of like the introductory foundation course or program. So they're taking several more courses here and they'll get the degree and their certificate. Just a few more courses, they get 2 certificates, and you can see how that plays out for each of them. So again, that's what we're doing over here. And this has all been approved by our curriculum committee. And we're excited to get the ball rolling and accept new students that are in these new course offerings and program offerings.
It looks
All
very
right.
smart.
Thank you.
Good. I really enjoy seeing that you're taking information maybe from your advisory committee and you're
Absolutely.
changing your offerings for your students. It's so important.
Absolutely.
What was good and what was prepared for us as we all entered into these full-time positions may not apply to the current student. So we need to constantly, every couple of years, go back in and edit those degrees, change the books and the tutorials and information to work with the current needs of the student and also the online needs, because everything is so virtual, right?
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Avery.
Thank you.
All right, so I have a list of my industry panel, but I don't have a list of the college handy, I think. And so I would like to move on and say, I think that Connor Brown is probably a high school teacher. And the next person I would move on to is either David Eccles or Stephanie Clark. So am I correct, Connor? Are you from a K-12 high school?
Yeah, I teach at Los Alamitos High School.
Awesome, welcome. Okay, great. So should I move on to David Eccles? Are you a college candidate? Are you going to present today?
Yes, I'm at Santiago Canyon College.
Wonderful. So we'll move on with you. Thank you.
Okay, boy, when Avery, when you mentioned curriculum committees, you know, I'm there with you, brother. I'm there. Been going through a lot of that, and they're very nice people, I have to say. They're very nice, they're very helpful, but wow, it's a long timeline, looking far off into the future in terms of how it all works out. A number of years ago, we added some production classes, and we didn't really think it all the way through. And I blame myself as much as I blame the curriculum committee. We had one Mac lab, and we didn't really have enough lab space for multiple sections of our classes, plus photography classes, plus digital photography classes and art classes and all of that. So this one absolutely gorgeous Mac lab was just filled morning, noon, and night. And we ended up getting, Friday afternoon and things like that type classes. And then we couldn't, if you teach production classes, you really need 3 or 4 at the beginning level in order to have enough for advanced classes, video production, advanced video production, advanced and all that. So it was a big disaster. And so I thought to myself, what do we do well, right? Let's go with our strengths. What do we do well? We're going to have a hard time competing with all these wonderful production programs at Saddleback and at Santa Ana and at Fullerton. Everybody had a fantastic video production program, and we were kind of new to the game and in terms of equipment and all the whole rest of it. And I thought we're just going to have a really hard time competing. And what we did well and what we do quite well these days is our history classes, history of motion pictures and that sort of thing. So I rewrote the curriculum toward away from production. And this is very confusing to everyone, and we're still working through this. Producing. Oh, goodness, what's the difference between producing and production? Students take producing classes and they think they're going to see cameras. No, it's a producing class. You're going to learn about budgeting and scheduling and all that sort of thing so that you can get into so you can work with a producer. And we thought that could be our niche, that we could get people into the business, but not be, zero dark 30 and wearing your cargo shorts and unloading trucks and all that other kind of stuff that they do in video production. And we were hoping that we could have our students get into the producing side and carry around tablets and things and work with the producer and that sort of thing. So I wrote great directors and film genres. We already had a screenwriting class. We kept our introduction to digital media production class, but we had to get rid of all the advanced ones and design and all that other stuff. We got rid of all that. And we also added film appreciation, which is often called media aesthetics, but aesthetics is not a good word for 19-year-olds. So I dumped that and threw in film appreciation, and then we had film and TV producing. So only one production class. And boy, we did that at just about the right time. Our dean was thinking about 2 or 3 months before the pandemic hit that we should be teaching some more distance ed type classes. And the chancellor was pushing that too. And they were offering nice stipends for us to get distance ed certified. So I got distance ed certified like right before the pandemic. And boy, what a windfall. Our classes all have wait lists, just long wait lists. We were adding sections, 45 students, 50, 55, just long wait list because for my classes, the history of film to 1945 and history of film from 45 to present, I recorded all of my PowerPoint lectures, and all my PowerPoint slides have pictures and graphics and all that stuff on it. But anyway, I recorded the whole thing, uploaded it to YouTube. And so when students take any of my classes, they can watch the lectures whenever they want, and they love it. And that's why there are really long wait lists to get into my classes, and we keep adding extra sections and all that. And I know they're taking, a lot of them work. I'm sure you guys all know that. A lot of our students have jobs and things. And so Zoom really interrupts all that. If you have a nice Zoom class from 1 to 3 in the afternoon, it really hurts a lot of students with their jobs and stuff. And then they stop showing and all that. And anecdotally, I don't really think students like Zoom a whole lot. The way my classes seem to be popular is that they can watch them at their own pace. They can stop to take notes, they can stop to take a break, they can stop to eat and do all that sort of thing. And they seem to really like to be in control of the class. Often when I'm zipping through my slides, I'm talking fast like I am right now, and they can't get all the slide down because they want to write down everything. And I tell them, you don't have to write down CALIFORNIA. You can write down CAL. Oh, right. So students taking notes, sometimes they're not sure about that. So anyway, they can stop, notes, bathroom, potty breaks, all that kind of stuff, food breaks, and they seem to like those classes. And we are slowly but surely rolling out the Great Directors class and Film Genres class. So we're still kind of in the beginning of all this, but our dean is quite happy because our attendance and our enrollment is the best it's ever been. And I have to say, teaching the summer before the pandemic, we did not have enough students to make, this is the summer, to make enrollment. One of the two classes made. The next summer, after we went 100% online, we had waiting lists for both sections of the class. So it's been dramatic. It's been really dramatic. Now, I know that's why I'm so curious about how you guys that are teaching production are doing, because these classes are all PowerPoint. It's a history class. It's a history class. It's the easiest thing to put online. And so I'm really wondering, when you have to talk about lenses and microphones and things like that, how you're doing it, how in the world you're doing it. Because I've taught video production for like 20 years. And it's just gives me a headache thinking how I would be teaching those classes today. So
That's
anyway,
right. We
it's
all
kind of a
have
success story, but kind of not.
questions. Thank you, David. We all have questions like that. And I'm sure if we have a little bit of time, please keep those questions handy. I think I'm going to move on with another panelist. Thank you so much, David Eccles. Stephanie Clark.
Hi, thank you for having me here. I'm Stephanie Clark. I'm from Santa Ana College. I'm in the new digital media department, which I might have announced last year, but it's official. It made, all of our courses made it through curriculum. So we have a new multidisciplinary program that houses film, graphic design, TV production, animation, and web design and UX. So we're in the next chapter, which is super exciting. And it's always super exciting to see what's happening in the region. We have a number of certificates, which I'm happy to share. I don't know if we have to share our screen or not, but I can share really quickly. Don't mind our limited SharePoint website. I don't know if anyone has that limitation at their campus, but we have several degrees and certificates right now. We have digital media, which is film and media studies. We have a digital media arts AA, which is graphic design and moving media. And then we have our AST in film, TV, and digital media. We are also offering certificates in television, broadcast journalism, screenwriting, agency film production, which if you're not familiar with our program, is a focused on client-based film production. So whatever a client might need, whether that be marketing or more of a narrative film to serve some type of purpose, that's what our agency film production is. And it's in collaboration with our small business program, which is upstairs at our Digital Media Center in Santa Ana. We have a user experience certificate, graphic arts, and production artist. I did notice in the questions that you provided to us as the college panelists, one of the questions was, how many units does it take to get through the program? And I wanted to just briefly highlight something that we did to support our high school partnerships. We developed a 12-unit graphic arts certificate. And what it is it includes a little bit of history courses, so some optional like history of animation or modern art. And then it offers foundation level digital design courses. And those 12 units actually fit into the Studio Art AAT. And they're also articulated with all of our regional Cal States. So we developed that to kind of help those high schools have their understand pathways and get those students onto a pathway so that they only have a few more units to complete within their major to earn that AA. So I just wanted to mention that if anyone's thinking about it, it's been really great. We have this awesome partnership with Samweli where students are earning certificates every year. And it also helps with supporting those high school faculty with curriculum design and things like that. And additionally, we have I'm sorry, I didn't mean to click on anything. We have 3 online pathways. So we can, our students can complete the graphic arts production artist and user experience certificates online. And that's been really great through working with the CDC and the OEI initiative in California to help with making education more accessible to all students. So that's some of the work that we've been doing. Obviously, we've all been working really hard this year with the pandemic, and been really creative with how to meet the students where they are and with what they have. And we'll continue to support our students. We just installed 2 new Mac labs, which is really awesome. And we've also ordered a batch of laptops so that our students can check out laptops when they need to, like what David was asking, for our production, specifically for our production courses, because this pandemic's been so unpredictable. We want to make sure, even if students can't come to campus, that they have the technology that they need. So that's a little update from Santa Ana College.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Stephanie. Thank you for that great detail. We all are working hard to keep up with virtual offerings so that we can get our programs out there to everyone. Okay, so I see that Dr. Pat Beckman is next in line. So I'm going to continue to use a little timer here and give you a little thumbs up warning when it's time to start wrapping it up. Okay, Dr. Pat.
Dr. Pat, I think you're muted.
Do you know how many times I hear that every day? Hi, it's very nice to meet you. I am Dr. Pat Beckman Wells. I am at Irvine Valley College, and I am the sister program to Digital Media Arts at our school. We have an embarrassment of riches in digital media, and I'm heading up a new program that's more focused on sort of the cutting edge arts coming out, like projection mapping, virtual reality, and digital printing, etc. And I wanted to show you some of our student work because while I talk, because what I talk about isn't as interesting. But this is a student project that went on to SIGGRAPH, and the students have done really well in their careers. What's amazing about this is that these students did this just with IMA courses. I hear you when you talk about having to update your program. We started out with individual tracks, like for 2D animation, 3D animation, game design, environment design. But what we found was really successful was that students wanted to choose a variety of different classes that didn't necessarily fit into a degree. And it really made sense because the field is so vast. And they ended up, typically our students end up taking every single class we offer because we give a very well-rounded curriculum for digital art asset creation. And these students find out that somebody loves rigging or somebody loves modeling, and they combine together. And about 10 students combined together about 4 years ago and took it upon themselves to create this virtual reality product. What's amazing about this piece is that all of the art was created by the students. None of it was downloaded from free STL websites or OBJ websites. They created everything, and our curriculum is based a lot on motivation. I am deeply entrenched with the studios. In 2019, I was on the advisory board of Pixar because I wrote a book called Face It, and I'll take this down so you can see that. And this book is sort of guiding a lot of studios in creating multi-ethnic facial modeling and informed from forensics. And I'm also on the board of, oh, I didn't bring it up, but yes, I did, of Unreal, as they attempt to create more ethnically diverse characters based on forensic evidence. So I stay really close with the studios. So to that end, it made sense to let people just pick whatever classes they wanted and then they get addicted to what they like. So none of our classes have prerequisite. They're all open to high school students. And we have motion capture suits. We have Oculus VR goggles. We have high-end computers in just about every software you can name. And we also have a partner DMA program that goes into things that are more focused on movies and digital media. So mine is interactive media, and it's a lot of games-based curriculum and projection mapping. We also have the new Lightform projectors for that. So we're really lucky to have that. And I just want to touch on everything that's important. Oh, here's another student work. This student just came from a career. He didn't want to go after a degree. He didn't have the money for that. So he just took course after course with us. And he partnered with students over at IVC, and you can see his work here and download his game. He became the digital asset creator, and he built from his game design class. We do board games to start people out on game theory. He took that a step further in his game modeling class, and then a step further in portfolio, and created an interactive game. And he'll be taking that into the IEEE in the spring, and it is outstanding. And he got programmers from UCI to help him put this together. So motivation theory is working really well with these students because we're just teaching them to love what digital media is. So many students that come to me don't know what they want to do. They're scared of the graphics. We just break it down into simple components that build upon each other. We get them involved with each other. On Friday nights, we have game clubs. We have speakers come in, and they zoom in, and we just build a happy, fun community. And, we just have fun. So we're really lucky with what we got. And I think my time is up. Am I correct? Right on.
Yes.
Thank you very much for your time.
All right, let's have a look at my Hollywood squares. If you would stop your sharing. All right, so I am going to ask Eric Caldwell. Is that, I'm sorry, Cynthia Jenkins.
Miss Cynthia is the guest speaker.
Okay, so Eric Caldwell.
Yeah, hey, Angela, I am actually a CTE teacher at Marina High School.
All right, I guess I'm picking on the ones that have pictures.
Yeah, sorry, great to be here and very interesting so far. Thank you.
Okay, so how about if somebody unmutes themselves and lets me know if they are a panelist that needs to go next? Anybody ready? Or I'll take the opportunity. Okay, please have your camera on so I know to point to you next. I'm going to take my turn and reset my timer here. All right, so I am going to start with a screen share. And sometimes it's hard to move all the little squares around, right? All right. Thank you guys for this time to tell a little bit about my program. We have been offering free Adobe Creative Cloud for this fiscal year. And the students, because our program is fully online, that has been really helpful for students. We also still offer Adobe certification. We have since 2018. And we have about 75, 73, 81 pass rate, pass rate. So we're working hard and to get the students to pass for Dreamweaver, Adobe Illustrator, InDesign, Photoshop, and Premiere. They're taking Adobe certification. We currently have 5 dual enrollment partners with the high schools and 25 laptops in use at the moment for early college high school. So that's an excellent partnership. We also have a part-time faculty who is working on campus at early college high school for dual enrollment, but it's during the bell. So that's working out nicely too. We have a digital media certificate that's production. That's just your basic entry-level work, Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign, a good 9 units, and the students have a 9-unit certificate out the door. It's great for K-12 as well as people who are just, on-ramping, taking some skills and then taking their certificate, to the next entry-level position. We have an audio video certificate that's 9 units. We have a drone imaging certificate that's working out nicely for 3 courses. They get the drone imaging certificate and a web certificate as well. And all of them work well right into our digital media design 18-unit certificate. So they are all stackable certificates. This describes a little bit about our drone imaging program, which is really taking off. The students are enjoying this very much. It's offered on a Saturday, which is very helpful, and it's at Newport Beach Center, which is great. So it's 9 to 1, and that has a lot of our K-12 students taking the course. Even some of the parents are jumping on the course as well, to take it with them. And that campus is right on the beach, so that's working out nicely. Our drone imaging instructor is Josh Friedman. The course is offered 9 to 1 at Newport Beach Center, and so we have a lot of fun with that. They're working on handling the drones. They get to wear a vest, that says drone pilot, and they then they learn to photograph, videotape, and then put all of the drones away, and then they edit the images. So they learn Photoshop and Lightroom in a lab after they complete the day of filming. So it's a lot of fun. We have an excellent outreach program that has been working well. We have 2 outreach programs that are College Pathway Days. So one for Halloween, which is a lot of fun. All the staff dresses up, and we have about 75 students that join us every semester. And we also have one Valentine's, or it's going to be actually for the March 17th, which will be St. Patrick's Day this year. There's a lot of hollering and music and video and a keynote speaker, and the students really enjoy getting to be on campus, walk around the campus, and they do multiple hands-on projects. So that Pathway Day really works well to encourage students to join our school. We have a free summer boot camp every summer that is working out really well. I think the students really like the opportunity to be on the campus. Again, they get that ownership to say, hey, I've been on this campus for a while. And it's 8th through 12th grade, so it's a lot of fun for students. We have each of our certificates they're stackable, and they fill in right in one into the other. And I think I will stop the sharing here. And I wanted to thank everyone for that information. I would like to move on to the next panelist. Who can I pick on now? Who else would like to present?
Miss Angela, I'm sorry, we've run out of time for the college panel.
Okay.
But I did see that there were a couple of questions for Dr. Pat.
Okay, Dr. Pat, questions for you.
Sure, how can I help?
Oh, I think I might have lost it. I did see an educator put a question in for Dr. Pat. If you want to unmute yourself, you can.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
my name's Adrian Sugar from Santa Ana High School. I teach graphic design and animation and some
Pretty
film.
cool.
And I'm really into After Effects, and I'd like to teach it. And I was wondering what you thought of incorporating Element 3D into After Effects to do just kind of like a 3D animation. I know you use Unreal Engine and stuff like that, but it seems like Element 3D kind of can take the students to with a good product at a quicker pace. Do you have any experience with that?
I do not personally teach it, but there's no wrong way to go. If
Got it.
there's a plugin available, somebody in the industry is using it, and it's great to have their hands on and try anything. Personally, I'm going to be using the cinema, I always want to call it
4D.
cinema, 4D, and adding that to it. That is a little engine that could, and it's really taken off, and it's really gotten popular at Digital Supernova, Digital Denver Supernova Festival. You'll see a lot of their work, and it's real bleeding edge stuff that's kind of fun to work with. So giving them any type, I mean, it looks like it has some of interesting elements that are already popular in Cinema 4D, so it couldn't hurt.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Sure.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, college representatives, and thank you, Ms. Angela Gomez Holbrook, for moderating the college panel. Before our quick break, we're going to hear from our guest speaker, Ms. Cynthia Jenkins. I'll turn it over to you. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I had a little bit of a audio issue earlier. It is so nice to be a fly on the wall to hear all the inner workings behind all you're doing for our kids and our students, especially in a medium that's so dear to me. So I was invited here, hopefully for a little bit of entertainment, but just to show you an example of some of the things that other districts are doing to provide career awareness and pathways specifically for some of these CTE topics. So anywhere from cyber and IT, skilled trades, robotics, etc. So I'm going to share my screen. I only have about 6 slides, but some of them are more fun than others, so we'll spend a little more time on those. Bear with me here. So my company name is Skills Gap. I happen to actually be here in Laguna Beach, California. My kids are Laguna Beach High graduates. In fact, I think did take one class at IVC, Dr. Pat, not yours. And Skills Gap, essentially, it's the problem solution in one word. Essentially, we're trying to fill the skills gap specifically by using an app, in this case, mobile gamification that connects skills and career awareness and career pathways specifically for schools and even industry apprenticeships and camps for kids, and specifically in their region. So one of the reasons why we chose mobile games for skills development, career awareness is 95% of our kids have access to a smartphone. Whether we like it or not, I'm sure this data is not a surprise. 90% classify them as gamers. Dr. Pat, you may also appreciate that number. 59% of them ranked more learning opportunities focused on real life work as the top way to improve the education system. And this will be really interesting later in my presentation to show you how we're able to incorporate that into gaming. And then 53 look to corporations and large businesses to prepare them for trends such as automation, globalization, new work norms. Obviously with digital media, it is changing all of the time. Because, and this is really a mission dear to our hearts and aligned with Vital Links, is to connect youth to life-changing careers and game-changing play. A lot of times what happens is, by the time our kids learn about skills-based careers, they've already chosen another path, and making them aware of their opportunities earlier isn't just the key to their future, but ours. And I think that there are some stigmas, as we know, attached to, you know, 4-year and beyond. And there's so many stackable credentials and really meaningful careers and pathways when you have a really qualified path. So our games are out of school or in class, and they incorporate career awareness and pathway awareness, and but they're available for Chromebook and on mobile. I am going to show you an example that San Bernardino is doing. So San Bernardino, and I'm giving you a little glimpse, no NDAs here. It hasn't launched on the App Store yet, but it's a trailer that I'm hoping, Dr. Pat, you can weigh in on. The cyber and IT is one career pathway, one CTE pathway that's starting to kind of poop out a little bit in their district, and they the industry is screaming for employees, and the school system hasn't been able to support it. And so what we've done is and actually I may even put in the chat to see if you want to vote on the name. We've developed we're in the process of developing a cyber awareness game that connects specifically kids to terms, roles, classes, pathways, opportunities for apprenticeships, all in a really, really fun game. So hopefully you can hear this. It's only about a minute that I'm going to show you. Okay, did you guys hear that? Okay, it was very loud. So I wanted to, a special shout out to Avery. I have been looking at specifically spreadsheets just like yours and aligning those stackable credentials and curriculum and kind of moving backwards and incorporating those kinds of terms, those kinds of skills needed and pathways specific to the Cyber 1, 2, and 3 that go into Cal State San Bernardino and other 2-year stackable credentials. And so just to give you a little glimpse of how these work is oops, I'm gotta cover myself here. Games are deployed regionally by state or region. In this case, for San Bernardino, it is funded by the California Department of Education, probably going to be deployed in all of Inland Empire. Oops. The content is specific to local industry jobs, resources, types of skills needed, what companies do, how much you might be paid. They see information on CTE programs like yours, apprenticeships, job fairs, post-secondary pathways. And as they play, they can earn badges for light skills, depending on the industry, and including soft skills. And these are shareable credentials that can actually be used to demonstrate some proficiency that might be able to give them a scholarship to specific programs. And that's really all I had to share. Earlier I was talking to Arya, thinking like, is this something even of interest to you? And I think it's really great to see, especially as we're all recovering from the pandemic and virtual learning, et cetera, et cetera. And the kids have really amazed us, I think, in terms of how they're able to receive information and learn. Similar to what you said, David, kind of on their own time. Congratulations to you, by the way, for having, a full house for your classes. But I think that also maybe as just of interest is the fact that what you're all doing in digital media, we're actually using, so to kind of a fun sandwich, not only using this kind of business model to get people interested in your classes and aware and even parents excited, but also using digital media as the medium to do so. So that was really all I had today, was just to share what other counties and what other states are doing specific for CTE careers. If anyone has any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Or if you prefer to take a little potty break now, I can stop at my 8 minutes.
Educators, if you had any questions for Ms. Cynthia about her programs, feel free to unmute yourself. We have a couple more minutes.
I'd like to hear what Dr. Pat thought of the trailer.
That was amazing. I'm checking out the website right now and trying to figure out how to get involved. Thank you for that.
It's, you know, it's really, I actually come from a marketing and advertising background. And so a lot of what we did was we were hired by industry and states, specifically the advanced manufacturing states, like the Volvos and the BMWs that move here and have their domestic headquarters, and they need a workforce ready talent pipeline. And a lot of what was happening in the schools was there just wasn't awareness to these kinds of careers. It's, you know, doctor, lawyer, and it's really it's really unfortunate. We're doing a real disservice to our kids because there's so many meaningful careers that are available to them that we just haven't been successful in connecting them a lot earlier for them to be able to advocate for themselves. So as we know, you know, they're on this, so why not give them something meaningful that they can turn into something that can really impact their career in the future.
Cynthia, I wanted to ask if you've heard of Talent Ed.
Yes, well, just through kind of looking at you guys. So very recently, yes.
Yeah, so I worked with and did one of the first rollouts of Talent Ed and put it into my module. So it worked out really well. There's even the geosocial type of application where the students can log in and check to see if the jobs that they're interested are actually in and near their areas, because a lot of cultures like to stay close to home.
Right, exactly.
So, I think that part was important too. But yeah, so in my courses, they're right in part of the Canvas modules. So the students will actually have a couple of quizzes that are based on Talent Ed videos and information on these careers, just like you've mentioned. That are, they're real everyday careers other than your basic.
Yeah, it's really cool. And it's especially, you know, the geospecific, the specificity is really important. Like you were saying, we do a lot for under-resourced communities and under-resourced kids. But it's, you know, especially like as an example for cyber IT, what happens is you go through the ranks and you get your degrees and credentials, et cetera, and then you roll up to Silicon Valley and our community has lost you. So to connect them, you know, locally is really important for our economy, as well as culturally, like you said.
Yes.
Any other educators have questions for Ms. Cynthia Jenkins? Okay, no worries. Well, thank you, Ms.
Well, thank you so much. It's just to be a fly on the wall. I just admire all of you in education so much, and as a mother and as a professional. And thanks for having me.
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much, and thank you, college representatives, for sharing your updates with the high school representatives. We truly enjoyed it. Educators, we're going to take a brief 15-minute break, please. We have a great group of representatives with us today. There we go. Okay. And so I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Angela Gomez Holbrook to introduce herself. And thank you for joining us.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Aria. I am looking forward to learning from this group of industry professionals. And I would like to go ahead and see, well, I think I will look. So please, industry professionals, make sure that your camera is on, because I will be closing out and hiding anybody who's not on the video at the moment. So I'm going to do that, but I see Sarah Sloan, you are at the top of the list. So I'd like to ask you a few questions, and you have the list, but welcome. And I'm looking forward to seeing, what company you work for. And so let's go with the first 3 questions. So once you answer one, let me introduce the next one for you. So go ahead and what's your name, title, company, and brief summary about the company?
Sure. My name is Sarah Sloan. I'm the Vice President of Integrated Communications at Idea Hall. It is a full service marketing communications agency that has been around since I think 2003, founded by Rebecca Hall. It was formed from the very beginning to be a full 360 agency. So we do everything: branding, marketing, advertising, digital, social, as well as PR, communications, influencer, media relations, and all of that. So we have a variety of teams and people with just a ton of different experience. My background, I came from a public relations communications agency world for many years before joining, for about 14 years before joining Idea Hall. And so I had always worked with other advertising firms, digital firms as kind of partner agencies, but was so excited when I came here to be able to have everything under one roof and be able to see the creative side of the house from internal, not just as an agency partner. And so that's been just an incredible experience, and I'm excited to be with you all today and talk a little bit about that.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So how did you know that this was the right industry for you?
Yeah, so I loved writing and like kind of the whole multimedia storytelling. Worked on my high school newspaper, started my own zine back in the day when that was a thing. Figured I would, work at a magazine one day. And then when presented kind of with the opportunity, I ended up taking a role in media relations at the World Bank in Washington, D.C. And it was really in that role right out of college that I had someone who kind of mentored me and told me, the best experience you can get is to go into an agency. And it's going to be intense and it's going to be hard, but it's like kind of like a university course in its own right, in the experience that you get within an agency life. So that's what I did, and didn't expect to do that forever. Figured I'd one day go in-house somewhere, and here I am 18 years later, still working in agency. Probably have some sort of like commitment phobia or something, because I just love to work with a variety of clients. It never gets boring.
Awesome. So wonderful to hear. Excellent. So this is a 2-part question now. What are the core competencies for any entry-level position? And what certification should we have our students focus on in high school, if that applies?
Yeah, so like I said, I come from more of the PR communication side of the house, but really kind of my role is as the account lead strategist, kind of main point of contact in some cases for a client. I'm kind of making sure I understand what that client needs and then can pull in all the right teams. So whether that's video content creation that we need to be doing, or that's branding, or that's social or influencer, or, out of home, whatever that work might be, I'm then trying to pull in all the right people to help accomplish that work for the client. So there are so many roles at Idea Hall. Obviously, in the creative department, you have the entry-level kind of graphic designers or production artists. But within kind of my side of the house, on the PR communication side or the account management side, it's really the soft skills that are the core things that we look for. Like the most successful entry-level people coming in are detail-oriented. They have an ability to juggle multiple tasks and deadlines, because maybe there's a campaign that's incorporating all of those different elements, and we're working to create those simultaneously or in coordination with one another. It's the proactive, like optimistic problem solver, the critical thinking, and then of course like the good verbal and written communication skills. And then I'm going to add one that I think is super important, and it's empathy. It's a hard one to teach. You either kind of have it or you don't. But I think empathy is incredibly important. You're going to be working with people who have all sorts of different skill sets than yours. I'm certainly not a creative. I'm not a designer. But I'm going to be working with those teams every day to develop work for our clients. And then for our clients who come from all different backgrounds and skills and industries that we might be working with as well.
That's really excellent that you added that. I have a list that I can share if we have time later of some of those things that are part of the soft skills. And we've taken a poll from our K-12 partners and our current college faculty. But yeah, I'll share that a little bit later. I'd like to move on to something that might be really appropriate for you, which is question number 9, is what final advice do you have for high school and college educators who are preparing students for real world careers in the industry?
Yeah, I think coming off that last question, I think it really is those soft skills. Because when they join our team, our expectation is not that they're coming in with, especially on my side of the house where it's in the account management side or in the communication side, we're not expecting that they're going to write an email marketing piece perfectly or write a press release perfectly. But so we can teach those things, right? But it's the soft skills that the critical thinking, the proactivity, I think especially even just the confidence to voice your ideas and opinions, because, that is the biggest hurdle to so many, people's growth that I see is just overcoming that confidence barrier. And the humility to kind of take feedback and learn and grow. By the time someone's coming to us maybe out of college, it's harder and harder to learn those soft skills. So for educators who get to work with them at these younger ages, to really talk about it and just start to seed those ideas that those are the valuable things. It's not just the technical skills, I think is so important.
I agree. Thank you so much, Sarah. I think that some of it is also that it needs to be presented. They need to see other people behave in that manner. And because I don't know that in high school, it can be, positive attitude or honesty and commitment and communication can be taught. They have to be seen and absorbed by the people around you. So if you're the people around you tend to be negative and high school, temperamental high school students, you're just not going to get it.
That's exactly right. And I would say also that's probably why I think it's so important to get those internships, get the real world experience where you can, even if it's just for a brief time, and hopefully you're exposed to people who can model that for you.
That's exactly right. I think it's important to get them away from their phones and their technology and actually interact with other people on those internships where they get away from the safety of the people that they know, which are their peers and then maybe some instructors, but they need to just, push themselves out of that envelope, away from that envelope, right? So I think we'll try to touch on this a little more because soft skills, I mean, they really do need internships and or summer camps on just communication, how to be punctual and or have the value of being punctual and honesty and integrity. So a lot of those things, this is part of my list that I have here that I was going to talk about, but I think I'm going to move on to Nicholas. So thank you so much, Sarah.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Hi there.
So Nicholas, hi, how are you? So please introduce yourself and what's your name, title, company, and a brief summary about the company.
Sure. I'm a generalist motion designer, filmmaker. I specialize in corporate motion graphics, animations, all kinds of advertising. Output could go on social media or events, all sorts of stuff, anything visual. I'm also the organizer of a meetup group out here in OC. It's called DMA OC. We kind of, since 2017, we've been meeting up. We're a whole bunch of nerdy motion designers that get together and talk about, our problems and our issues. It's kind of like an AA meeting for motion designers.
So this is perfect. So how did you know that this was the right industry for you?
Well, I've been doing creative work since I was a kid. I had my first official job when I was 14 years old in 1992. So I always kind of knew that this is what I wanted to do. I went toward more corporate side of things and finding the industry that I should really be in. It was in 2014 when I noticed that there is a lot of demand for motion graphics and anything that needs to go on social media and all these different places. All these different companies need content. So I would say, yeah, it was 2014 that I was like, yeah, I just want to do corporate work.
Oh, awesome. Yep. I love that feeling, right? Where you're like, you hit that nail right, like smack in the center. So this is a two-part question. What are the core competencies for an entry-level position? And what certification should we have our students focus on in high school? And if there isn't one specifically, then let's just focus on the core competencies.
Okay. I wrote down a few that I really think everyone should have, especially in this industry. If you're a freelancer or if you're a VFX artist working for anybody, the first thing is business communication. You got to know how to take care of that. You got to know how to deal with a client or somebody in your department, how to write emails, how to deal with problems, that's, I think all falls under business communication. That's super important. Next one is if you're a freelancer, you're kind of like, you have your own company. You got to know how to do sales. And you can't really say, oh, I don't like sales. I can't, it's just not my thing. Sorry, you have to do it. If you can't sell your product, sell your art, you can't continue doing it. You could be the best artist out there, but if you don't know how to sell, sorry. So read a lot of sales books out there. Some other stuff, obviously graphic design basics, fonts, colors, how to read brand books, what do brand books look like? And then when you go toward more video and animation, basics of photography, basics of video, how to frame something, how to frame a photo, how to frame a composition. And another thing that kind of is something that we have to be aware of is social media, basics of social media. What are the sizes of Instagram posts and stories? These are things that you should definitely know by heart. Those basics. Yep.
Those are right on. I think that you have aligned with what a lot of industry professionals believe are absolutely necessary for students coming out of these high school and two-year programs. So our program, we created a digital media business basics course, which has a lot of what you're saying here. So this is exciting to hear that yet another industry professional agrees that it's important to learn how to write emails and the sizes for digital media or for social media and all of those basics. They actually even write a business plan, and they have to connect with their local, what's it called? The local group where all the businesses sign up their information. So a lot of that stuff. Yeah, I connect with that and I agree. Great. So I think that you've already covered the top 3 technical skills, right? Did you see that?
Yeah, absolutely. That's the kind of the same answer, but I would say business communication and sales, graphic design basics, if you want to be a good motion designer, because if you're a good graphic designer, you could easily be a good motion designer. And then basics of photography and video. So those are the 3 things on top of the list.
Wonderful. So I'm going to, let's see, what are some of the digital tools that students should be proficient in? I guess specifically, maybe some of the apps that you use.
Yeah. Well, they got to first pick a video editing app. I use Premiere and DaVinci Resolve. In the past, I used Final Cut for years, but now I'm gearing more toward DaVinci Resolve by Blackmagic Design. I really love that. Premiere is good too, but I could do a lot of color correction and stuff with DaVinci Resolve. That's one. Adobe Illustrator is one of the basics for anything. Illustrator and Photoshop I use a lot. After Effects. So you could either pick Fusion, Nuke, or After Effects. So these are all in the category of compositing. I went toward more After Effects because, you know, my background was graphic design and I was doing more graphic design stuff, and After Effects is great at that. Nowadays, you gotta know one 3D program of your choice. I'm a Cinema 4D user. I've been using Cinema 4D since 2007. However, before that, I was on 3ds Max, Maya, and I actually started on Lightwave 1.0 in the 90s. So, but Cinema 4D is a really good program to know. And if it's possible to have access to an iPad for motion designers, great to have an iPad for sketching, for making storyboards, yeah, Procreate is a app that I use. I also sculpt 3D models on iPad, and I use 2 programs over here. One of them is Nomad and the other one is Forger. These 3 apps are basically my everyday go-to
Nice.
apps.
Fantastic. Thank you for mentioning the iPad. I think that we'll round back on talking about some of that. I think I'd like to pull in Patrice and make sure and then gauge our time and then come back to a couple of those items that you've mentioned. That's great. Thank you so much, Nicholas.
Hello,
Patrice.
everybody.
Hi, welcome. So go ahead and go with number 1, which is what is your name, title, company, and a brief summary of your company.
Sure. So I'm Patrice. I'm in Lake Forest, California, and I run Purple Rose Graphics. I'm a brand communication and design specialist. I do all 3. And I create and maintain brands for small, independently owned businesses. And I've been doing it since 2011. And I started out doing this in Placentia or out towards Brea. And then I just moved recently to Lake Forest. So I'm excited to be a South of Cedar now.
All right. Thank you. How did you know that being a freelancer was right for you? What were some of the things that you're like, this is perfect, this is working, or did you have to dig your heels in and go, I'm gonna make this work?
So my story to freelance is kind of involved, but I'll try to make it short. I actually started out more on Sarah's end of things, doing communications, public relations, things like that. And I was working in different offices doing communications work and sometimes clerical support, because let's face it, offices are small and you do lots of things. And I realized really quick that I kept finding myself in the marketing department.
And, you know, I would trundle away from the front desk or wherever they stuck me, and I go off into the designer's office and I'd hang out there and I'd watch what they do. And I loved to draw. I was that kid in class who never looked like they were paying attention because I was always drawing. And I just sort of, I had started toying with the idea of going back to school in 2007 to maybe retrain doing design. And when the housing market crash hit, I was working for a construction company at the time, and the housing market crash took my job. And so it was a hop, skip, and a jump to go, I'm never dealing with this ever again. And I realized really fast that if I supplemented my education in public relations with another degree in graphic design and advertising, I was golden and I could work for myself, which meant, because I looked at my folks one day and my parents and I said, you know, if I'm going to always be looking for a job, I might as well just work for myself. And you know, that's what I ended up doing. I walked into my parents' place one day after dinner with some friends and went, you know what, I'm going to open a business. This is ridiculous. I just want to work for myself and I just want to work. So I started freelancing in 2010, kind of unofficially. And then I made the official plunge the following year. And in July of 2011, I opened Purple Rose Graphics and I have never looked back.
That's awesome. That is a great story, Patrice. And so what did you do to search for jobs? How did you,
I was on all of the industry platforms at the time. I was on monster.com. I was on indeed.com. I was utilizing One Stop Shop OC. I was cold calling. I was cold calling a lot. I was doing all the things. I mean, I was pedaling hard looking for work and I was finding it, but it was just exhausting to always be looking for work.
Yes, I understand. I did freelance for a while before I started teaching. And after working for 10 years in the design industry, for a big company and then, on my own. But I remember, what I would do? I would find really bad design solutions that I'm like, oh my goodness, I could really help them. So I would call them up the Midwest or East Coast or wherever they were. I'm like, you know what? I just really want to talk about this design.
I do that.
More often than not, I would get the job. It would last a couple of years where they're like, just, can you fix this? Can you do this? Can you,
I definitely do that. I have a reach out campaign that I do with my existing customers. I mean, don't ever forget the people that built you and you value those people. I mean, just today, right now, somebody that I network with connected with me and asked me to work with someone they know. I've had past clients, returning to me on a regular basis, some from as far back as 5 and 6 years in the past, going, hey, I just remembered that I need this thing and can you do it? Yeah, of course. So building relationships is huge. Absolutely one of the top things I would say people need to learn how to do, not just communicate by email, but be able to communicate in person and on the phone, be willing to build relationships, be willing to network.
Do you think they should have like a spreadsheet of names that they should reach out to, or how do you do that you're saying that you send out?
So I just finally made the plunge to a CRM system after living on Excel for like years and years and years, but my Excel sheet is still my buddy. So everything goes in Excel or on a piece of paper, which is really horrible. So don't do it, but do Excel. But my Excel sheet is my buddy. So it has my client's name, their phone number, their email, whatever notes I need to put in there when I last spoke to them. And then I just sort of go from there. But I just recently, like within the last few weeks, made the plunge to integrated system called Honeybook. And so I'm getting that set up, and I think it's going to be great.
Oh, wonderful. Great. We look forward to hearing whether that works out. That's a good way to go instead of cold calling, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I still get new clients. I mean, I still do. I network online as well, and I post online, and I do social media marketing. I mean, you know, 2/3 of what a freelancer does is marketing. You have to know, like Nicholas said, you have to know how to sell.
Yeah.
Even if you're going to work in-house, you have to know how to sell. You have to be able to walk up and say, hey, my name is Patrice, and I do this and this and this, and I'm my best product. I will sit down in any interview, whether it's in-house or freelance, and I am my best product, and I will always be able to sell the heck out of what I can do. And
That's
that,
wonderful.
for me, is one of the top things. Oh, and take criticism. That's my other big beef.
Oh my gosh,
I see a
that was
lot.
exactly one of the items for my soft skills list that was stands out, accepting criticism.
Yeah, I see a lot of, I'm in freelance design communities online. And these are global communities. And I see a lot of really hurt feelings from designers because the client didn't like what they did. Remember, what you're doing as a designer is work for hire.
Mm-hmm.
The work belongs to the client, not you.
Yeah.
In the end, it's by you for them. So if they tell you it's ugly and you're the worst designer on the face of the planet, nod, smile, and say, how can we fix this?
Yes. Yes. Don't get married to it. I think my advisors in my grad school are like, don't get married to your work. It's for them. Give it up. Let it go.
If it's ugly as sin and you don't want to put it in your portfolio, that's your choice.
Yeah.
But it's for, and I've got those pieces. I have a leopard print business card that will never see the light of day in my portfolio. But there's, don't have to put it in your portfolio, but smile, nod, and go, okay, you want leopard print on your business card? You got it.
Yep, exactly. It's good. It's good to be able to work with a client like that. I think the next question does not apply too much to freelance, but I think that we're going to type it like popcorn around a little bit from each one of you. So does your company offer internships, apprenticeships, job shadowing, or volunteer opportunities? And what's the age requirement? So, and if not, where do you think, I think I'm going to add that, where do you think that they could go at, maybe your suggestion? So I'm going to move back to Sarah, and then we'll go back to Nicholas and try to make it a nice round table.
Sure. We do offer internships. So I think the youngest person we've had has been maybe just finishing their freshman year of college, coming in and doing some work. So yeah, I would say probably at least 18. And we have a lot of people who are in college who come in and do internships. We get a lot of people from Chapman University, Fullerton, Cal State Fullerton, other colleges as well. Some amazing designers that we've had in our creative team that have started working with us as students in college and then gone on to stay with us and take full-time roles after they've graduated. Same thing with people on kind of the PR and account side, have come in, either maybe junior, senior years of college, started to do internships, explore it, and then stayed with us, and now are even, have elevated to manager roles.
I love to see that pathway. I love to see that, just where they go with it. And so, Nicholas, same thing with your company. Have you connected with, other students, apprenticeships, job shadowing, to work with other people?
Yes, definitely. I usually meet these guys through the meetup group, and it's not, I don't call it like internship. It's more like friendship. So we start
Nice.
working on something, maybe solving a problem, and then usually I could think of a few people, they find their own path and their strengths and their interests, and kind of work that way. Yep.
Oh, that's fantastic. You know, I have been very lucky to recommend 4 students so far in these 5 years I've been at Coastline, and they've gone right into the marketing department, and they just learn so much that they become full-time, you know, full-time hires, and some move on to go to grad school. So it's fabulous to see that you can be an instrument in their lives, right? I'm happy to hear that you're able to do that with the meetup. How about you, Patrice? Are you able to, do you find time to connect with those that might need internships or volunteer opportunities?
I really don't offer that. I get approached for it a lot, but I'm really never in the position to bring on extra help. I mean, I'm busy, but I'm not busy enough to bring on extra help. So what I really tend to do is connect them with the local Chamber of Commerce, Brea Chamber of Commerce. I've been a member for the last 9 years, and they've got a lot of really good opportunities, and they've got a lot of businesses that they could connect them with. So I usually will send them that way if I feel that they need a recommendation for an internship. I mean, I think Irvine Chamber also has a program, but I'm not as familiar with them. But Brea Chamber of Commerce is like basically my bread and butter. Like that's where I network the most. And I usually will do that, or I'll invite them to network at a lunch with me. If they're available, then I'll, you know, and then you never know who you're going to meet. And I've had a couple of folks take me up on it, and it's worked out really well for them. So, you know, I don't personally bring people in, but I'm willing to take them and, you know, connect them to other people who might be a better fit.
Something, as you're talking about network and lunching, you know, and that's your bread and butter, something that came to me, I wondered if you bring a digital portfolio with you to showcase your work, or is it a print portfolio when you're, you know, networking and you're looking for a job?
So I used to bring a little photo album with copies of my work, but I'm unfortunately very forgetful, and I get very excited talking to people. So it's something that I kept having to like remake every time I lost it. So I now have a digital one on my phone. It goes where I go.
Oh my gosh, our phones are just amazing. And do you use, you know, the phone camera and or photos feature, or do you have a particular app on your phone?
So I actually just made I mock up all of my work. So I will set up mock-ups of everything and make it look really good, or I will live photograph it if I have print copies, because I don't always have print copies. So the mock-ups are to simulate the fact that this is a printed piece, to give people the idea that it's a postcard or a flyer. And then I take those pictures and I put them onto a album on my phone titled Work Samples. Nothing catchy, sorry. And then I, you know, if somebody's like, oh my God, let me see your work, I will either hand them my business card and say, hey, check out my portfolio online. But if they're really desperate to see samples live and in person right there, I will flip open that album and I'll flip through probably like my top 5 or 10. And if they want to ask me questions about it, we can talk about them.
Wonderful. And Nicholas, what do you use to showcase your work to clients? If you're in person, I'm sure online you're able to say, hey, check out my website, right?
Yes, for motion designers, it's always their demo reel that needs to get updated all the time, probably twice a year. It could be 30 seconds or to a minute. So that's something that every motion designer has to have.
All right. Yeah, that's really important. And we, as educators, always work on portfolios, and everything is like a complete portfolio when you're done. So we use different applications, whether it's Adobe or even some of the multiple applications that are available from Adobe have great options for students to compile their work and then edit and change them. So Sarah, do you have anything that you would add for portfolios? And then I'll move on to some final advice.
Yeah, I mean, when we're doing any kind of new business, we have kind of a big master deck that's all about us, that talks about our agency as a whole and all the different offerings, and then includes tons of different case studies for all the different work that we've done. So whether it's video or, marketing pieces as well. So, and then we'll just customize that deck for that client to showcase the work that's relevant to them and share that as a PDF.
All right, awesome. Awesome. So I'll move back to Nicholas. What final advice do you have for high school and college educators who are preparing students for real world careers in this industry?
Absolutely. I have one advice and 4 books to recommend.
Okay, great.
The advice that I have for any student is value your work. And as teachers, I think we need to teach our students that they need to value their work and not come out of school and start working for free. I totally disagree with that. People buy designs and give respect to designs that the designer himself or herself really values that work. So I do not believe in cheap work. And I think that needs to be taught. We've been taught wrong that we have to do stuff for free and cheap when we come out of school. That's one thing. So books that I have really quick. This one, it's an old one. It's by Jeffrey Gitomer. Jeffrey Gitomer has a lot of sales books. It's called Little Red Book of Selling. Okay, great for selling. The other one is Show Your Work. This basically tells you how to value your work, how to show it. A lot of great advice. Talks about time vampires in here. Awesome. Yeah. So this is more for pitching your work. It's called the Win Without Pitching Manifesto. This is for basically valuing your work and not be so desperate to get work. This is amazing. And one of the all-time books that you guys might know. I love this book and I've been going by this for years. Julia Cameron Artist Way. This is gold.
And what about that book that makes it?
It's all about creativity, self-discipline, and it's just amazing. Every paragraph of this book is just unbelievable.
I'll put that in our Digital Media Business Basics library. That's fantastic. You'll be happy to know that one of the modules is valuing your work and not working for free. So we're on it. We're working on it. Patrice, what's your final advice for high school and college educators?
Honestly, I was going to say all the same things that Nicholas said, to be totally honest with you. I was going to say all of that. But I will add, teach them not just how to value their work, but teach them financials, how to read a profit and loss statement, how to understand business finances, and how to read a contract and how to negotiate. Because whether you like it or not, there's going to be that guy who comes at you and says, well, you're the owner of the business. Can't you give me a discount? And you're going to have to learn how to A, hold your boundaries, and B, you're going to have to learn how to negotiate. So that to me would probably be pretty much my final advice. Oh, and learn how to design if the electricity disappeared. One of the reasons I've gotten hired so much over the years is because I can design on any program. I know the design principles and I can design on any program. And I'm really tired of being a zebra where everybody's like, oh my God, no one else can do that. It's like, they should be able to, sorry, but they should. So definitely that would be kind of be my additional final advice on top of everything that Phyllis said and everything Sarah said. So
Yeah,
there you go.
we value those sketches. We sketch a lot and we do a lot of stuff with ink pen, but what people aren't doing anymore on paper and pen and planning.
Yeah, I mean, I'm drawing a logo for somebody right now and I'm doing the sketches in a sketchbook with a pencil. I don't own fancy equipment. I don't need fancy equipment. Okay, I taught myself how to draw with the mouse, but whatever, you know, and you can make it work without fancy equipment. I mean, and that's one of the things that I think people forget is that you get so caught up in the technology and the fancy equipment that you forget at the end of the day, people were doing this before computers existed.
Are you guys using the graphic design handbook, pricing and ethical guidelines? Do you guys
Yeah,
ever look at that book?
the GAD guide. I have the GAD guide. I use it all of the time. That's probably been like, it's basically my Bible and I get a new one every few years.
So we refer to that a lot in the business basics, which I think you guys have given us so much fabulous information. It's so important. The business finances, reading contracts, valuing your work, some of those highlights, and the soft skills, I think, Sarah and everyone else, I think what you listed was a positive attitude, honesty, commitment, communication, being punctual, integrity, and accepting criticism. All of those things are so right on. Thank you so much. I think we have a link in the chat for the next 5 minutes. And Aria, can everyone be working on that link and I can still continue to chat, or did you want me to just like go dark?
No, you're going great. Yes, please continue. And we're almost finished. Yes, thank you.
Okay, great. So 5 more minutes. So those are some of the things like time management, following through, and empathy was fantastic when you mentioned that, Sarah. How can we get, I don't know, I think empathy comes with growth and nurturing, like, you know, people grow. And I've got to say, I was an introvert. So I went to college, finished, you know, and worked in a design studio for 10 years, but I still didn't know how to speak up, come to the table, raise my hand, like, I can do it better. You know, I just couldn't do that yet, but yet I did have my degree and I did, you know, so it took time for me to get where I am. And then people go, oh my God, how did you become a college professor? You were such a quiet person, didn't offer information early on.
I think it's so important. You have to find those leaders who are also going to talk last, right? As a leader, you have to be the one to say, I want to hear, like, tell me what you think, you know, and you really have to make space and opportunity for people to share and open up and give their ideas, give their feedback. Because if you don't do that, it's really hard to overcome. It takes a long time.
It does. It's something that we need to work on, is to learn how to manage your time and follow through and make a spreadsheet, you know, like Patrice does. Patrice, your spreadsheet that you used to use might, you know, go for a good price if you offered it as a template. Because, you know, often you have to make your own spreadsheets.
Yeah, and I did start making out a lot of myself, and I did notice that there are some questions. So with your permission, I'd like to put my email in the chat, and that way if people have questions after this is over, I'd be happy to respond via email.
And Ms. Angela, we do have one question from Mr. Michael Taylor.
Yes, I see that now. Can you, Michael, let me see. I'm going to view show on. Okay, so Michael, where are you? Can you go ahead and tell us your question?
Yeah, great. Terrific panel, really fantastic. We have at our school agency film production certificate program. It's 2-year plan pathway, And it's mostly on the video production side. What we've also added recently that we're going to have a companion class in is going to be agency graphic design production, because obviously that's an integral part of any full service agency program. We do a lot of the things you guys talked about, which it really reinforced, like, okay, we are on the right track here in terms of, our students meet their clients. We have real world clients that we bring in from nonprofits and from the Small Business Development Center upstairs at our Digital Media Center, which is fantastic. Our students have to take a meeting. They have to do a needs assessment for the client or what they need. When we all agree on what that needs assessment is, the client signs it and the lead producer signs it. They have to write emails to that. I'm CC'd, I look at them first, but they have to write emails to the client. They have to learn these communication, all these soft skills you talked about. They have to come up with a budget, even though it's free service that we do. We have to come up with a budget so they know how to value what their editing time and their production time and the field time would be in the real world. They lead the meetings, and man, you've never seen a student more nervous in their life when they're actually meeting a real client and they've never done something like this before. They have to dress way better than I'm dressed right now to meet these clients and be professional. So we do a lot of that. They also get critiques. We have a first draft that they see of the video, and then the client gets feedback, and then we may make those changes, and they get one of those within our budget that we do. And so we do a lot of these things, but we're interested in doing the 4-year program. We're interested in trying to make our applying to a 4-year program for this, because there are seem to not many UCs or Cal States that are doing agency film production pathways. And so we're going to apply for a 4-year. What would some of you guys say other classes, other big classes that students should have that you are looking for when students come out from the 4-year program and say they need this, boy, they better have this class under their belt, or other things we need to be incorporating into this program?
I just want to commend you on the real world experience. I think the students that I've seen come out who do that kind of a real world programming type of class tend to be the most prepared. I think what you kind of described is basically designing a creative brief and getting a client to sign off on it. I would say that is a huge learning curve for most of our new people coming in, as they don't know how to write a creative brief. They don't really even, in many cases, know how to think about a creative brief and what it is that needs to go into that and what they need to prepare so that the creative team can go off and develop what they need to develop. And so I just want to say kudos to you for doing that, because it's huge.
Thank you.
When it comes to film and video, it will be great to have a good foundation for lighting, for like DP work, directing, photography, and just framing, and have a good foundation to start with. When it comes to editing, basics of storytelling, how to tell a story the right way, and I kind of wish I had those when I went to school. I went to George Mason University. I went and I did their art and visual technology and art studio program. It was a 4-year program, and they did teach me a lot of the fundamentals of design, and that was awesome. But specifically, I wish I learned these 3 things there.
Well, luckily we do have our foundational classes, our single camera production class, then the cinematography class, and also an editing class as foundationals before they're allowed to take our capstone agency film production class. They also have a screenwriting class as well. So we kind of build them towards this capstone class where they're going to actually work with clients and do these things. So many programs, and we have a film program too, but so many of them just kind of focus on go make your art, go make your film. And the reality is 90% of our students are not going to work in Hollywood, but they could become entrepreneurs, make their own businesses like you have, or go work for someone with these skill sets. So that's kind of our focus of this pathway that we've created at the school here. And yeah, I'd love to maybe pick your guys' brains a little bit as we kind of develop this 4-year plan, and maybe reach out to both of you, all 3 of the panelists really, and talk a little bit about here's what we're doing, here's what our programs are, here's our student learning outcomes, where are we falling short? Because there's not a lot of existing curriculum for a 4-year pathway out there right now for us to take a look at.
Will you three put your emails in the chat, and then we can listen to Aria and see if she's ready to sign off. But those are fantastic questions. Thank you so much, Michael.
Well, thank you guys for sharing. This has been really great.
Yes, thank you all so much for sharing such great insight with the educators. We truly appreciate it. Educators, if you do have at least 5 minutes, please do complete the survey. Your information truly means a lot. It helps me find even more industry representatives that can come next year for our future events. Thank you all for joining. Please enjoy your weekend, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.